Good morning, children. Mr. Taylor here with your maths learning for Tuesday. This is for the Obelisk group, so you should know which group if you're in that group. So this work is for you. Today we will be looking at, we're going to be recognising and writing decimal equivalents of tenths and hundredths. So nice, easy sort of lesson to begin the week with, and then progressively we'll be doing some more challenging work. So today we're just going to be identifying and writing decimal equivalents of tenths and hundredths. So we have a look at this. We've got this bar model here, and it's been split into 10 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when we're writing this, we're going to be writing it as a fraction and as a decimal fraction. To begin with, we can see that in our 10 parts, we've got 1 shaded in. Now I'm just going to reveal these at a bit, and this is how we're going to be writing it as a decimal and as a decimal fraction and as a fraction. We'll take the fraction to begin with. So here we've got our fraction. We've got our numerator and our denominator. Our denominator is the amount of parts that we've got in total. So we've got, as I've mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So our denominator goes there. Our numerator is the amounts that are shaded in. So we've got 1 shaded in. So our numerator is 1. Here, this is how we're going to write it as a decimal fraction. We've got a small place value chart here with our ones and our tenths. Now, as we've said, that we're looking at fractions and decimal fractions of tenths and hundredths. We always put a 0 in this case in our ones because we haven't got our whole bar model isn't complete. Only a set part of it is complete. So we don't have any holes. So we put a 0 in the ones column. And in our tenths, because this has been split into 10 parts and we've only got 1 shaded in, we put 1. To write this in words, because there's 3 ways that we can display and show what this is representing here. So we, as we said, we've got our fraction, our decimal fraction, and we always write how we're going to write it in words as a fraction. So we've got 1/10. Now we're going to move on to another example. So here we've got another bar model that has been split into 10 parts. We'll just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So our denominator is going to be 10. Our numerator is the amount that is shaded in. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to show you this now as a fraction. So here we've got 7 tenths. So we've got 7 parts shaded in out of 10. And again, same as we did up here, our decimal, we have no holes. So we put 0 in the ones column. And because we've got 7 parts shaded in, that will go in our tenths column. Do remember that you must put the decimal point in between the 0 and the 7 because we're looking at decimal fractions. And to write this in words, we're going to write it as a fraction. We put 7/10. So that's looking at tenths. We're now going to have a look at another way of how we can now look at hundredths. So I'm just going to cover that up so we can look at that later. So here, where we had previously, we just had a bar model that is 1 row across. We've now got 100 square. So there is 10 going this way and 10 going this way. So there are 100 squares. We need to again write this in a fraction and as a decimal fraction. And then afterwards in words. Now we could count each individual square that's shaded in, but we don't need to do that because each row is worth 10. So we actually know that straight away that this here is 10. This one, we can see we haven't got a full row counted, coloured shaded in, so we need to count. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do 10 plus 4, which is 14. Now, as we stated, the amount of shaded in is our numerator. So our numerator is going to be 14. And the amount of parts we've got in total is going to be 100. So if we look here, how we've written it, we've got 14 hundredths. Now to write this as a decimal fraction, we've included another column. Because we're looking at hundredths now, we've got ones, tenths, hundredths. Now, we can't put two digits in one column. So we're going to partition them into, put the 4 in the hundredths and our 1 in our tenths. Now, if we go back to our previous one here, we can see that there are 10 parts. And this is the same length as here. So remember, we're looking at tenths. So this is our tenths. So we're looking at, we've got 1/10. So 1/10 in there. So we've got 1/10, 4 hundredths. 1/10, 4 hundredths. And when we're writing in words, we're going to have 14 hundredths. Notice the spelling of hundredths. Okay, HUNDREDTHS. It's really important. So that's our decimal. Oh, that's our decimal fraction. That's our fraction, and that is it written in words. Now, sometimes you'll have it be displayed using place value counters. So here we've got each place value counter is worth 1/100th or 0.01, as this is written in decimal fraction. So together we have 0.02 because there's two lots. To write this again, because our value is in our hundredths column, we need to put hundredths as our denominator, and our numerator, because we've got two lots, is going to be 2. Our decimal fraction, using that place value chart again, we've got our ones, our tenths, and our hundredths. Now, it's really important that we put these in the right column. Now, because we've got 2 hundredths, the 2 goes in the hundredths. Even though we've got 0 tenths, we must put a 0 in there as a placeholder. Otherwise, if we don't put the 0, it will read as 0.2, and that would be 2 tenths. But we're not looking at tenths, we're looking at hundredths. So we must make sure we put the 0 in the tenths column. And again, because we've got no holes, 0 goes in the ones column. And to write this again, you take the fraction and you're going to write 2 hundredths. That concludes today's online learning for this lesson. Have a go at the worksheet. There are activities where you need to look at writing the fraction, the decimal fraction, and writing it in words. And think about how, if there's a way that it can be represented in one way, it could ask you what are the other ways that fraction or decimal fraction could be written. Best of luck, and if you do need any help, you're more than welcome just to email me. And if you want to, you're more than welcome to pause the video and rewatch certain parts to help you with your learning. Take care.